So I'm doing it, sparring in the team, and I threw one away, and like 20 minutes later, a guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you're the guy that took my tray, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "My phone was on it." And he's like, "I need it. I need my phone." And then my brain was like, all right, I know where this is gonna go. Like, where this goes is me in the dumpster.
The trash can.
A great one for me, and I've told this story a few times. It's a guy that works for me, Ryan Woolsey. I didn't know his name was Ryan for like 2 years. He's Woolsey. It's Woolsey. He's just known as Woolsey. And he's the mountain. So he's the guy that runs the mountainside, right? He's the mountain operations director. And I got a base area, and you have all these different leadership roles, but he's the top guy for the mountain. And he'd been on ski patrol. He had done all these things, and I when I got there, I had him in a role, but I was like, immediately, I'm like, this is the guy. Like, he's the guy that's meant to do this. But there's certain things to learn to get to that type of role. And so I said, hey, do you trust me? Like, we're going to take you out of this and put you in here. This is the better thing for your leadership development growth. And it was 2 years of that, bless his heart, and he did it. But when the opportunity came, he was the right guy for the job. And I knew that this dude had his family's from the area, born and raised on that mountain, knows every inch of it. This is the job he wanted since he was a child. Like, this is what he wanted. And I knew that. And selfishly, I'm like, I got the offer letter, and he came in the office. He had no, like, at the timing, I just kind of took him offhanded, right? I was like, hey, can you come in for a minute? Come in. And I said, listen, I need to talk to you, but first I need to talk to you and Amy. Can you call your wife? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, it's cool. Like, you mind calling your wife? And he gets her on speaker. And I was like, hey, Amy. He's like, Amy, hey, I'm sorry, I'm here with Davy. He wants to talk to both of us. She's like, okay. And then I pushed the offer letter in front of him. And I took a step back. And he's like, it went quiet. He's reading it, and he sees what's happening, and he's freaking out. And Amy's like, honey, you there? And I'm just quiet. Now, I will cherish that moment forever.
Why did you do that?
Because I'm selfish. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like,
are you not listening?
I really, like, I'm not anything, like, I'm not, like, there's people.
Stop it. That was so giving. What made you want to have him call his wife?
Because I wanted to receive the feeling. It is giving, but I wanted to receive the feeling of it.
It is better.
Like, I wanted to have that. Because, like, I'm telling the story to you. Like, aren't you happy? Like, I'm happy.
Well, no, you are. You're
like,
fighting happiness.
I genuinely, like, I love that. And I know it's selfish. Like, I get nothing from it.
But it's a great selfishness.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like, it is, like, yeah, I don't know. I look at things like that and I go, that, I don't know. And then now, right, like, the result of it is Woolsey is brilliant at what he does. We trust each other in that way, and we have a great bond. And, you know, I think it's developed. Maybe that's a part of it. But
your book, Selfish to a Strength. That's what you are. You're selfish to a strength.
I don't know. It's kind of like, I have people like that in my life, right? That believe in you so much that, like, I told the story of Bruce Crane last night, and
Cried only 4 different times.
Yeah.
Telling that story.
Yeah. He's just, you know, there's people that, like, have such meaning to. There's a guy, Royce McRae, when I was like 15. Yeah. There's good people in the world.
There are, yeah.
So you want to pay that? Oh yeah, my father-in-law, absolutely, my mentor, in terms of he just told me on a car ride, you know, why not med school? And I convinced him, like, I can't do med school. I didn't pay attention to any of the medical classes, and so he believed me. He saw my sincerity, that I was not smart enough for med school. I was kind of disappointed that I convinced him so quickly. He's like, then he moved in, but I think he had the plan all along was, well, why not law school? Your grandpa was a judge. He went to Harvard. You see these guys on billboards. Do you really think that, you know, you're not as smart as them? And I'd look at the billboard and be like, that's a good point. You guys look ridiculous. And, like, you know, I started just kind of, like, opening my idea to the fact that maybe another 3 years and taking a bar exam wasn't beyond my ability. So, yeah. And then that's why I'm passionate about wanting to coach young men and mentor young men, because a single conversation just about it was just about this, like, a 4-hour car ride changed not just my life, but my wife, my children, their children. So it's powerful. And so when you talk about I'm selfish, like, I get what you're saying, because you knew in that moment that sliding that across the table and letting him have that victory and that win, you knew that that was going to affect so much more than just him, right?
Yeah. I think so. I'll tell another quick story. I think where this hits home to me. So, and there's religious elements to this, but my dad converted in Ireland from one religion to another. And that was a big deal in that country.
Catholicism to Mormonism.
To Mormonism. And that's like, what, what's going on?
Well, yeah.
That was not, but how that happened was there's a guy early on, years prior to that happening, who found my dad drunk on the road and carried him home and gave him a Book of Mormon. And, years later, my dad's bored one night at work. There was a box of junk in the car that was in it. He found it. He's a vivacious reader, reads it, and has this change of heart, drinker, doing all the things, right? And he wants something different. And that was the thing. Calls up some missionaries, they come in, blah, 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 happens. The end result of that is we get to America. I go back to Ireland, meet Joe.
You get sent back there.
There's a hinge of history that took place. And the hinge opened because a guy saw a drunk guy on the road.
Wow.
And the coolest part of that story, which is a pretty cool story, is I go back to Ireland. I carried plenty of drunks home. Because I'm in my mind, like I'm not even drunk. Get on, let's go. It's like something good will come from this years from now. Trust me.
Is there a plan for you? Because it's random, isn't it, that you go to Ireland? Like, how do you end up?
That was not normal. No one goes back to your country.
Cool joke,
yeah, that was. Yeah,
he has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible is that?
Yeah, you go back and you get, I knew how hard it was going to be.
Here's the problem. Everybody's sat telling Davy, like, hey, this is going to be amazing. You're so excited.
He's like, no, it's not.
And in his head, he's just like this. He's like,
I'm the kid that threw rocks at them when I was a kid. Like, I know what's coming. I know what's coming. Yeah.
Comments that
and all my family's there.
Hey, you guys live together, and they'd say just the filthiest things. And
my aunt slammed the door in my face. Like I'm knocking on family, right? So it was a very, very different experience. But and the cool part of that story, that guy finds my dad.
What is your takeaway from that? Merging two cultures that are now in you.
Yeah, it's a unique space. Yeah, I don't practice now, right, in that way. But I have imagine that experience. Like, do you not have it is an eternal love and respect for it though? Because what it did for your family, it for me, absolutely, I have that, and I'll always have that, even if I disagree in any principle. I'll always have respect for it, right?
At the time, did you have any kind of identity crisis?
Oh yeah, an Irish Mormon. Yeah,
I sure did.
Yeah.
Good question, Ash.
Yeah, talk about diversity.
Leave now.
I was I am in a category. I'm in a unique category.
Yeah.
That it doesn't really exist too well. But to bring it kind of full circle, 10 years ago, I have always been fascinated. Who is the guy that left that book with my, or carried my dad home?
Right.
Who is the guy?
The rest of the story.
Yeah, and I found him.
Oh no way.
Yeah, found him. And he was at an event, and he didn't, he's now quite a bit older. And I went up to him and I tapped him on the shoulder and I was like, hey, are you Elder Sheriff? He's like, I am. And he goes, you're from Ireland? And I was like, I am. And he goes, I served a mission in Ireland. I was like, I know. Can I tell you a story? And he's like, yeah. I was like, 1979, you're a pissy, rainy, cold, dark, miserable Irish day, and you found a drunk guy. And he's like, what? He's listening to me, and I go, yeah. And then you put him on your shoulder and you carried him home and you put him in bed, and his wife screamed at you, like, who are these freaks in here putting a man to bed? And he's like, as I'm saying it, boom, memory hits him. And he breaks down, just collapses. I grab him, I capture him, and the thing that stuck in my head forever is, and you felt this way, we've talked about this before, I have felt this way many times. He whispered in my ear, he's sobbing, and he goes, I thought I did nothing good in that country. Mm. And I'm like, well, you did. I'm here because of it. And I went on that road. I went on that love of there are moments you have, whether you create them, but like what if scenarios, like, well, I don't know. You never know. You never really know. That's why you talk to people. That's why you talk to transport. You go to the gym. That's how your business is good, right? I think that's where he does well. In the gym this morning, how many legal conversations were had? Like there was just 2 in a gym. When people are working out, when people are like taking selfies and taking videos, he's able to do it. And he's able to just meld that into it to where, by having a conversation, good comes, right? By willing to get out and talk to people. But like, so much of what we do now is we close up and it's on a screen. Absolutely. And you're not even getting into a spot.
You're so right.
Where you can't even like create the environment for that to happen.
It was funny. You said that you had like made a conscious decision that you were going to smile at people at the gym and how hard it was. And me being a very introverted person was like, I'm going to do it. And so I'm like,
how'd it go?
Hi.
It's hard.
They don't look at you. No. They look away.
No. And so you have to then go, okay, I'm not doing this just because of the react. I'm not basing this whole thing on being attached to like, okay, like
it's the one that catches your eye and is like, oh, hi.
Well, right. And it's just like, it's the whole, you can start, you can do it, and it might not make a big difference, but it's the right thing to do. And it's hard. Like it's
so hard.
But at the gym, that guy that we ran into, he, he's one of the custodians there, and for almost a year, he's got another injury law firm, and I've just kind of been, helping him, tell him like what's normal, this is typical, it takes this long. And he finally just got his settlement today, and so I got a hug, and 3 or 4 times we embraced and hugged, and he said, I'm having a retirement party. He got a settlement, and he's just done, and he's so excited. But it was a great...
By the way, we're 4 seconds into the gym. And I'm like, oh. But it's been Joe, right? Like that, again, to the strengths.
It's incredible.
There's nobody. Like I've never seen anything like it, and it's a unique talent in the world. I'm not that way. As social as I am and outgoing, I am. Like I am introverted, and I flex extroverted for a cause and for a reason. Like I do that a lot. Like my natural state would be like if there isn't the opportunity, I'm reserved. You're not.
I guess that's true. I just see you so much in like at Snowbasin.
Either in the environment. We've had experiences like the Lindsey Vonn one, right? Of like when we were out, like and I can engage. I can do that.
Lindsey Vonn comes to Park City. He invites me to a very small, like you get first tracks. You get to go ski with Lindsey Vonn, and she's there answering questions, and there's like 10 people there, and so I got to watch Davy walk her up on the stage, introduce her, kind of protect her, don't ask about the injuries, right? This is Lindsey Vonn, and at the time, everybody knew who she was, but that was fun to watch Davy just be such a natural, and so I wouldn't ever assume that. But you're right. I guess you do flex it and turn it on but you do a really good job fooling me. Like
the thing about you, Joe, like I will absolutely bawl saying this, but yeah. You invite people like to your family dinners.
Yeah.
Like you invited me to go to dinner with your mother and father-in-law. And I was like, how interesting is it for somebody to like invite you into their family?
Yeah.
And that's really what you do is you just like stress the importance of family and friendship, and you bring people in a way that is not natural for others,
It's so fun though. And my kids, I hate to say it, but I get a lot of compliments about my kids, and a lot of that's intentional of trying to bring people into the home for Sunday dinner and
expose them.
Yeah, one couple was a surgeon from Ukraine, and he was like you, Dave. You would have loved it. Him and his wife from the Ukraine went through, and they just kind of helped us understand their perspective of the war and what's going on, beginning to end. And my boys and my daughter got to sit there, and I thought, is there really a better way to like learn and engage and connect than over food at a meal, right? And so again, it is selfish because I want my kids to be exposed to everything.
I just wish people like embrace the selfish side of them,
right?
Like meaning like it's okay. Like why are you doing that? Like I feel good doing it.
Yeah.
Like why are you ashamed of that? Like
not don't run from it.
No. Like it's like
thought.
I think it's funny when people do that. It's like really like what's bad in that?
Yeah.
In that environment. But I'm glad you see that, because that's what I've always seen. That's who he's always authentically been.
It's been so personally impactful for me because I grew up with a mindset of just achieve, do, right? With the idea that when I die, what I achieved and what I did would be what I it defines me, and it's what I would look back on. And I was raised to distrust people. So to be partners with somebody who shows me every single day that there are great people in the world has been life-changing.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, honestly, but I do want to hurry and shift this off of me back to Davy. So I get
Very uncomfortable.
But so hold on real quick. You guys are getting in the podcast world and doing this, and you're doing very well, by the way, if I can say so. You're doing great. But podcasts do well when we're in a conversation, like where it's back and forth, right? So yeah, you don't want to put the attention on you, but that's what's good about this thing, because like part of it is like do you listen, like when you listen to Joe Rogan, right? The godfather of this, are you interested? You're equally as interested in what he has to say as what the guest has to say.
True.
That's the power of it.
True. It's hard to sit in.
Yeah, I get it. Sorry, what you're actually doing is if you're uncomfortable, this is what you're talking about.
Embrace the selfish side of you.
I'll breathe it in. But I do want to get to critical thinking, your concern about, what technology and AI is doing to us as a human race, and your concerns about it, because I actually, in talking at dinner last night, I think it's something our listeners will want to hear and talk about, because, if they don't have kids, maybe they themselves are underestimating just how much of their brains they're turning off. It was a miracle that I mapped my way here without looking at it, but I've been here probably 17 times, and I'm like, I think I know it's left, right. I should be able to not type it into my phone. That's just a microcosm. That's a small example of what's happening to my brain, where mapping and spatial awareness is just shrinking. So I know you have some interesting thoughts on this.
It was, and I'll say, I have two friends back in Utah, a couple, Clay and Tiff, and they were over the other day, and they're AI experts. They're brilliant. Like they've in the IT space and in that space are just, and I'm a bit of I'm not the smartest guy in that space. It's not my cup of tea. I've learned it, but they were showing me a GBT that they developed. It's like their counselor, and it knows you so well at this point. You can have it. You can say, hey, we're dealing with this issue. What would you suggest? And they know you so well. It's like, and but it gives you some ideas, gives you some thoughts. Or the way when you're so triggered and your amygdala is hijacked and you're like, and you just can't come off of it. And the reason you can't come off of it is because you actually can't find a way through it. Mm-hmm. You don't know how to go, like, how do I just breathe? All those things you do, but like ultimately you actually don't know how to take that first step. Like what is in the direction. So these guys developed this thing. And it's just to them, right? Like it's for them. And I saw, and I was like, wow. And I've seen other things like that. I was like, that is actually incredibly impressive. It's dangerous, right? That it can be used in such a challenging way. But what it does, though, I think where, the world is going, and I'd say what we do, and I even see it in my work, is like, we're looking for answers. We're not seeking the learning to how we came to that conclusion, why. It's like, it like, tell us what to do, dear, AI. Like you're looking for that, simplifying your life. And so as you go through and we hire people and you see younger people, and again, it's the best thing in the world is to see a 15-year-old work again, right? I love it. And see that environment and help culture that environment. But like, also I'm like, hey, like the ability to see a thing, see a scenario in front of you and engage in it because you should, that is harder now, and it will continue to become harder, because so much of what we are doing is like trying to simplify life. Yeah. And when you simplify life, the inability to then process the how and the why in a situation, you see it like I'll tell you, I'm on those scenarios. I see those videos online, and you're on a subway and somebody acts up and you just shocked. You don't know what to do. What am I doing because somebody's acting crazy? There's no Irishman in the world that feels that way. Like, we all know what to do in that situation. We know how to have a head on a swivel, how to see in the environment. You're raised in that environment. That's true. There's a hypervigilance to the surroundings. I am hypervigilant everywhere I go. It's what you were raised, it's how you learn that skill.
Yeah, you're
right?
oozing like instinct, right?
Instinct of like danger. Right. Maybe that's not good. What am I reading? Is my reading, is it true? Like the inability to process and discern information it creates encampments and it creates silos, and it is ever present in today's world. I mean, you hear this in the political spectrum all the time, but I see it socially. I see it in work. I see when you look at it, like, and again, that's why I try, you can see the themes, but the energy gets sucked out of it because of left or right or this, it gets sucked into these encampments. But the reality is on the ground, it's people looking at a scenario and not discerning it. And when you do that, you can miss great opportunity. You can miss growth in your business. You can miss a lot of good things because you're head down, stuck in your way.
Do you think the answer is removing or manufacturing more things in your life to offset the inevitable way it's going, the trends with technology and AI? Do you feel like it's more important to try to, I've got friends that are looking forward to this new phone that's going to come out that's just for phone calls and text, and they're going around saying like, hey, get on board, and I like what they have to say, but I don't think it's practical for me. You think it's removing, or you think it's making sure now we're doing other things to?
I don't know. Again, I'm not like, I don't know if I have all the answers. I think though that, when how do we learn? How do we all still learn and grow? How did we do it as kids? Like, you're exposed at a young age, you become experienced in a thing, and then that gets reinforced in school, and you learn how to learn, right? You learn what that process is. I think I do see the kids' education system. I now that my kids have gone through school, I'm like, I could not have done what they did, could not have gone through that type of education. But I also think some of the life skills, some of the basic life skills like work and critical thinking and being on time, and some of those things that maybe have devalued because of whatever reasoning that is out there. Like, I can see the education system needing to shift to do more practical stuff, because day to day we're busier, and can we train our kids in those old fashioned ways that established culture and systems? Like, is it there, or are we to adopt and change our own ways of doing things? And that's fine. Like, and we're doing that. Like, I mean, a lot of our work is AI, right? And it is not, I'm not being critical on the technology.
It can be a good tool.
We talked about this morning with Susie. We were like, from a business standpoint, it can take and create an executive summary on something pretty quick. And sure, could I do that? Do I need to check the work? Sure. But like, that's good work, right? Like, that's valuable time spent. But when it can take away your inability to process information and discern if it's true or not, and all of a sudden you're down the road on a belief system that no one ever challenged because it just reinforms your bias, then that can be quite debilitating. And we can see the consequences of that, right? And it's like it's like going back to the guy that told me that to walk fast, right? The fast or slow guy. One of the things that he did that I thought was brilliant was, we would, on opening day at a resort, it's like everybody's excited, the city's coming to life, all the work you did in the summer is like being rewarded, and it's game day, right? And we'd go to an environment, he's like, what do you see? I'm like, there's lines, people are cold. Like, I'm observing, it's like, oh, look at the sign, it's twisted. It's like what do you see? There was a guy years ago, it was a Mike Walker up in Park City, brilliant guy. He was an Army Ranger, and he told this story one time about the observancy, like how hyper vigilant you could be. And he was on patrol and got to a corner in Fallujah, and he'd been hitting that corner every day, and he's become monotonous. But something stopped him in his tracks, and it was a twitch in the air, it was a whisper in the wind. Something got his attention, and ultimately there was a sign that he saw the words, and there was always a bit of it missing, because there was an obstacle in the way, and now that obstacle was gone because he could see the whole word. And he's like, I never knew the whole word before because it was covered in some way, and that was enough to go, that something's off. There's something wrong over there. That's not right. It like, literally think about that, like an object that's just peripheral. It's in the background of backgrounds, and it was an IED. Saved his whole platoon. Wow. I like that skill. How do you teach that skill? How do you teach like the ability to see a thing or see a person?
Well, and that's so
see
important.
An opportunity.
Going back to what Joe was saying about not being able to map his way here after being here 17 times, right? Is like, you're losing the ability to observe your surroundings because you're so reliant on the thing to tell you where to go.
Yeah, and if you go back and if you go back even further, you think about when you would roam your neighborhoods, right? Mm-hmm. And that was so critical in terms of being able to map your way in the world and know, oh, okay, well, here's here's something, here's a grocery store
Landmarks.
here, and I'm 7 blocks from my house here, and if I go here, and you kind of knew your zone of danger and everything, and so.
We talked about this, I think we were talking about it last night too, but like, as we sit and talk about this stuff, like there's no new ideas out there. Like to have a new idea in this world at this point, you're like, let me write, it's taking a concept and rewriting the definition of it and putting in the title of a book, right?
Yeah.
Like there's 1,000 books on amazing things, and there's, you know, topics of conversation, there's podcasts and every bit of information out there, like to come up and say, let me give you another way of thinking about it.
Well, it's really the language of the times though.
But really, I think what it is, it's like taking something that you can relate to. Everybody knows, like there's nothing like new theory, new idea that really impacts you. It's taking that and blending it with other experiences. Like nothing I've said to you today is unique or special in the world.
Well, yeah,
but
you said
connecting
twitch in
it.
the wind, and I'll have to look that up.
That's that's the title of the book, Twitch of the Wind. I looked at those and I go, I can't really create new experiences, but those same experiences, but related in my fashion or way,
and who
might be more relatable in some way. And so I look at that, like that's why there's 1,000 books, because you can consume a book and move it on. That's a story, cool. And it's just it's like another way of reinforcing a principle you already know. And that's what we're doing today, right? Like the topics of leadership, the topics of how it relates to your law firm, right? How it relates to my leadership style, our families, the people and the connections we have, where it ultimately leads us to. There's nothing that's like redefining the space. So when you started the podcast and said, you know, I hope we get something out of it, like ultimately I think there's relatable things in all of the things you say. If I said all of a sudden, all right, everybody tune in, something you've never thought of before.
Right.
Like what would that thing be at this stage? Like,
yeah, it's more about pattern recognition, pattern
themes,
connection, themes, connecting dots, and that's a skill, right?
The consumption of media. We consume media all day long.
Well, I'm going to push back on that a little bit and just think about our life coach that talks about how many people are, you know, walking through the world on autopilot, right? Is that the themes and the ideas are not new. And to somebody whose dad was reading him history books for bedtime stories, like you learn these things at a really early age. But I mean, certainly for me coming into my 30s, like a lot of these themes I learned because I got a life coach at 32.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
And hearing this podcast or that podcast or reading that book caught me at the right time and opened my world, right?
It's the sequence of events. It's like what is happening in this time, in this space, to where that worked well. It's kind of like when, you know, you create a recipe and a cookbook and you're like, man, it tasted so good that one time, and trying to replicate it. It's like, what in that moment worked? Was it the water in the mix? Like what made it work? You're right. Like there might be somebody listening to this, whether that's what's cool about the format, like today or 5 years from now, and says, that's super relatable to me at that time in this place, you know, for this universe to exist at that point.
Yeah, and that might lead to a decision being made, though, that is, like you mentioned, that hinge, right?
Yeah.
That Christian missionary picking up your drunk father.
Well, that concept came, and I'm stealing it from an author named Thomas Cahill, and he wrote a series of books that I've loved, and you know, happened to be just by chance that the first book he did was titled "How the Irish Saved Civilization."
Happened.
Confirmation bias kicking in.
I knew on it.
What was famous, he says, if it wasn't for alcohol, we would have ruled the world a long time ago. You know, the book, the concept of the book that I love, this idea, it's theoretical, but the idea and the concept is find a thing in history or something that we live with today that if that thing had not happened in history, life would be different. Like what's significant enough in this world that if this thing didn't happen, life today would be different. And that's the concept. So he does one on the history of the Jewish nation, right? And what if this thing didn't happen, what would life be like? The Greeks, right? What, like if you know, a part of their history, just a particular thing, and he just hones in on a particular thing, what if that thing didn't happen? What would life be like today? And the concept is, that's why I loved it. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So there's one on Ireland. It was about the Irish monks and how they wrote the written word. They were some of the first people in the world to write in a language that we could consume. And the Vikings were raiding Western Europe, and they took these written papers up through the round towers that are all throughout Europe to avoid the Vikings. And he was able to attach back to history and connect it to say, this thing, if that hadn't have happened, the language we speak today would not be the same. It would be something different. We would get there, but it would be different. And if it's different, well, how does that impact you? What would life be like that's different? And it's pretty fascinating. So there is hinges to history. There's hinges to each experience. And, you know, when you can go down a rabbit hole and think like, well, what are those impacts? And how do you pull back when there's a lot of pressure in that at times?
Do you have an ultimate takeaway from this, or is it just a fun mental exercise to go through, or do you use it like, no, does it make you think or pause or feel?
I think where in my work, it matters when you're dealing with like some serious issues, like an avalanche or right, some injury, like you know, it is not, you really need to nail it. Like you really need to like get it right, like that, like your hinge. If you don't do it right, the history could be pretty bad. And so I think about the
press
impact.
conference needs to be.
I mean, and it is, or like take the Olympics coming up, right? Like we have the largest venue in the Olympics. It's
What races do you get to host?
all the alpine events. So it's the downhill, it's the Lindsey Vonn races. Like it's huge. And I'm thinking, I gotta get that right. Like that, like I gotta like
Oh, it comes along.
TV.
Yeah, it's gotta be kind of a big deal. And then you think it's because like, what's the objective? Well, like it's ultimately for these men and women in the world to achieve something they've dreamed of forever, right? And our job is to help them to create that dream. And it's amazing because like when you see people doing that, and then what goes on behind the scenes, our job, right? Like at the resort level is to create the environment for them to be at their very best. And, you know, they'll go on forever and they'll have, you know, their Olympic dream fulfilled. And behind the scenes, they'd be like, well, you know, what they don't know, there was a guy out all night shaping a curve and that worked well for them. And they have no concept. Like there is constant things like that. And so I see the impact of that a lot of like, you know, in my world, like you can't really slip up, right? Like that you can, and there's always tomorrow and the snow is going to come and, you know,
But
there's
the
always
hinge will shift.
but the hinge will shift and it has the impact.
You changed, yeah.
Imagine like something we did, you know, where we didn't do it right, and that for whatever the combination of events that took place, and that person didn't, you know, get what they dreamt of. And that sounds silly, but unless you think like that, like our job in that like is to get it right.
To take that much care.
Yeah, because it has legacy to it, right? So, and you see, you know, look across the spectrum, you see brands and businesses that don't do that, and it has impact. And that goes back to the burning platform principle that we talked about, which is, you know, that idea of, you know, if you're not innovating, if you're not pushing for like that next mark, you know, something bad can happen. And there's so many examples of that in our business world, or there's so many examples of that in your world, right? Where somebody messed up and all of a sudden they're calling you, right? Because they didn't take the time to do it right.
Yeah. That was another topic though that you had written down. Why innovate or how to innovate when the status quo is working? And I wanted to know why you wrote that down as a topic.
Well, I think that's like, you know, that's again how you see success. I think like you can get complacent in the status quo because it's working and that's fine, but what you don't see is the wave that's coming, and because you're doing well, right? And so I mean the famous example was you know, Redbox. I mean, or there's some great ones, right? Redbox, like there's no way streaming is going to work out.
So people that don't know what Redbox is.
Well, there was, I mean, what it came to, how the burning platform principle came to be was actually the CEO of Nokia who sent an email out. Cameras, sent a note out to his staff and said, you know, we are on a burning platform. And the reference was that it was actually a reference of an oil rig in an ocean and the fire, which is the worst thing in the world that could happen. And the guy was trapped by fire, and you can either jump in the ocean or you can burn. What would you do? Well, you jump.
Is this the same as a building, like 9/11?
Yeah, it's the same idea as like, and the question mark is like, why would they jump? It's because when this guy happened to live, they rescued him, and he famously said, it is better to face uncertain death than certain death. You will jump because there's some tiny bit of hope in that, right?
Primal instinct.
Yeah, and so when a business is on a burning platform, there is pressure coming, and if you are too proud or you too whatever your limitations are that don't allow you to disrupt the status quo,
You're going to meet certain death.
You're going to meet certain death. And it's happened time and time and time again. And because there's somebody, it's like, you know, you got to have someone on your team. I have one on my team right now. I have a guy on my team. And if, you know, Eric is listening to this, he'll know because he'll love it. And he does this. He is the contrarian. Not to be the contrarian, but he thinks that. Well, he'll look at it and go, well, let me just pause for a minute. And I'm like, imagine if you didn't have that guy. Like on your team, like will it always work out that way? Is there other, do you take it every time? No, but like you would need the voice.
Point out.
And I, you know, Kodak, when they were going bankrupt, I remember a story I read. It was like they had more patents just sitting there ready to go, but like how to take something from a concept in your brain to execution it's a lot of work. And so like they were just like all the things are there, but you just sitting in your own comfort and you don't know the way that's coming. And in your case, it's, you know, is it some other big entity that's going to come right into your market? But I think you guys have an amazing niche, right? Because you've got the what you do, but the how you do it is what makes you so successful. So, but there could be others, and there could be competition, or laws can change and things can happen to where it's impacted.
Well, yeah, for us, it's tort reform, right? Like if politics change enough, then access to justice could be detrimentally affected. And then, you know, what we do could be impacted in a way that doesn't make our business profitable anymore. So we're always talking about how to diversify between the laws that we practice and kind of pulling more people in to diversify in that way. But yeah, I think most industries are at risk of that in some way or another, right?
But you see the ones that don't.
Yeah.
Right. You see the ones. It's like, how did you not see that coming? It's as obvious but when you're in it, it's not very obvious.
It's actually not obvious.
Yeah. And the questions again, going back to it, is because that ego's off the shelf now, right? It's there. And it's not even bad. Like it's not bad things. It's just that drive inside of you. Like you can miss it. And that's why you and I have talked about it. It's like the long-term planning is like, yes, do I want to free up more time in my life? Who doesn't want that? But that's the end result of a lot of work. Yeah. Right. And you got to work and put the work in, and that, like, you know, and that is always something that we strive for.
Yeah. And a business really isn't different. You guys can challenge me if you want. I don't think it's any different than a marriage or a relationship, like a committed relationship, where when I was younger, I thought, oh, you'd get it to a certain point and you can coast, and you quickly realize that's a fantasy, right? Like the business is the same. Like, yeah, it's great that it's good, but you still have to have the check-ins. You still have to do the dates. You still have to.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, you know, the personality, you can kind of turn it on and off maybe at home. I don't know, but like it's the core of who you are is still, I think,
But you can't stop working on yourself and the marriage. I expect it to get better.
Yeah.
Just like a company, you can't expect it to get better.
Yeah, no, it requires the work, and it requires and in my case, I think where I failed over the years is like not being willing to like accept what was good as good. Yeah. Like my incessant need for growth and like how do we just keep this thing going? It's like actually in a relationship, it's like that's actually like the one place you can go to where you actually should. It will always take work, but like you should. That's like where you should feel peace.
Settle in
and be okay. But like, yeah, and I think it's easy to connect, you know, some of those bad habits that I think come from those things and bring them home. I think especially like, you know, for those, you know, parents out there raising kids, it's like the balance of that, of where you can, you know, come home from work, leave the work part, you know, the DNA, especially jobs where it's like your personality, like you bring your personalities to your jobs, right? We just talked about those things. I bring my personality to the work. So you take home your personality. And so can you turn off the work element? Like, can you be present? And that was some of the best feedback. You know, my wife at the time, I remember I came home and I'd work so much and she'd be like, you know, your kids don't know you, right? Like you do know that. And that hearing that as when I'm a young dad and I'm trying to do, you know, I'm doing it for that. I'm like every immigrant, you're trying to give more back to the generations that come. That's just the way it's built. Yeah. And I remember hearing that feedback and I was like, that is brutal to feel that way.
I had a similar experience too with my life coach, like going through my divorce, and it was something that I had to hear, but it took so long to appreciate what she was saying and like actually start working on it. And it's still a work in progress, but to your point, like you bring your personality to work and at home, right? So I'm in a male dominated industry. I am all red. And so all day long, I'm in masculine energy, right? I'm telling people every single day what to do, how to do it, solving problems. And then I come home in that same masculine energy, and she just was like, do you think your husband wants to have that energy when you come home? And I'm like, no, but
it's funny.
how do you get out of that?
Yeah, like that. How do you turn that off? And it's funny because, like, well, it's either right. Like, yeah. Some by the way, some do.
Good stuff.
There's some guys out there they love it.
I chose
and
wrong.
there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. But either you find that partner in life that can match that energy, and that you're just this dynamic couple that way, or you find a way to pull back, right? And find what is that. And I did in my case, I think with the, for me it was coming home and being intentional. I show intentionality. I was looking at, again, to effusively talk about Joe. I watched this last night and I told him this, like, I'm on a call, I'm looking, and he's just sitting at the table with his kid. Just two of them. There's no devices for them. They're just sitting at the table together. And I'm sitting over there and I'm like, okay, does he know how not normal that is? Does he even get it? And I walk in, guess what they're doing? They're singing together.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, but then I sit back and I go,
Cute.
I love that. And I wish I was better at that. Yeah. Like I look at that and I can sit down with my boy Ronan and we'll talk, and then it immediately gets into his, him being a freshman in college and living that life. And I'm like, man, I don't want to sit in the room anymore. Like, I want to go over there. I want to get away from this. I want to hear this. But like that was my work, was to find a way to like be present and sit. And I'm really glad I got that tough feedback. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Well, the irony of what she was telling me was like, you say you want a man that does X, Y, Z, but are you allowing that to happen? No.
Yeah.
Right. And like that recognition of like what you want. Right. So it's weird that you're singing with your kid, but really
he's into music. He's into music.
Well, the point is that
I'm like desperately wanting to try to explain.
You're fine.
It sounds so weird.
The point is that you have a connection with your kids that is an anomaly. Like you have young kids. I've watched you have young kids and now adult kids, and your adult kids want to hang out with you like they were young. Every parent wants that.
It's so
it's weird, right?
And
it's unreal.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
They go to concerts together.
It's nothing better.
That's what's great when you get to know the family that way. Like, I feel like that. Like, I'm with the kids and we're hugging. It's like they're like, it's Uncle Davy. Like, I've always wanted. But that's special in there. But it's, again, it comes from a place like, at some point, whatever created Joe and Susie to create that environment, something formed that, and that's amazing. And there's a lot of people probably in your past that helped shape that, right? And that's why you honor. That's why we do what we do. It's, again, going back to those elements of like, you just don't know what impact you can have in the moment. Right. And when you talk about the relationship and those dynamics and how to turn that off, like, sometimes, I don't know how you feel, but sometimes I'm like, that red, and which I have, that drive, it's like something I want to turn off. And what are the healthy habits of turning that off? And sometimes it's just letting go and like finding a person that's there's so much trust there that you're red, you become green. You become like the soft, peaceful. Like it just, and it's there. And that when you can find that, and by the way, any red can find that in their way, but the person that you find that with, where you can actually not be that and it feels good.
It's actually really funny. My fiance now, like he lets me be a tornado, and like just watches me spin out of control and like very calmly, are you done? Yeah. Is it over? Like,
just eating chips and guac while you're
seen spinning. What you're doing? Like, it's all good. It's all okay. And it's so disarming. And like, definitely the first person that I've ever like walked away going like, you're the asshole in this situation. And like making me want to not be the asshole, instead of fueling the fire. Because if you're going to like throw gasoline on it, we'll be ready.
It creates the space for you to feel comfortable with who you are, though, right? Like,
I feel so myself, right? So I get to be red, but he is,
but it softens it.
Yeah,
that's what's great about it. Mm-hmm. That's why those other colors come in, and it's not easy to pull them up, right? Like, it takes some extra effort. There's, there are definitely those in my repertoire that I'm not great at, and we all have them. I think Joe has all of them though. He's
Oh yeah, yes. Put it back on me. No. All right. So shifting
can't do
quickly into something else. So we don't pause for sponsors yet, but you're gonna be mad at me because I'm gonna give away your business idea that you've told me about for years. You told me about it again today, and I'm gonna offer it to anyone listening right now. Do you want to share it, or do you want me to?
I'll talk about
It's
it.
brilliant. Ash,
And it may
whoever does it
exist.
first, someone's gonna
Are
do.
we looking for
someone's gonna do it.
investors or like what are we doing?
No, this is just a little gift we're gonna give listeners. Go ahead.
I don't know about you. That's when I say an idea from your head to execution is like that's a big journey. But I think about this stuff all the time of like ideas. But I think that the world needs misfortune cookies. They just bear with me.
I can't with you too.
Fortune cookies are amazing.
No,
So fortune cookies are amazing. But what if like you had a choice and you said, hey, like, would you want a fortune cookie or a misfortune cookie? You're going to pick the misfortune cookie, right?
Yeah.
First off, as a market, you're going to open it up. And this is where the best part of it is. You and your friends are going to have the best weekend ever writing that stuff. You are going to have the funnest weekend ever writing that down. And it's like, yep, your dad really doesn't love you, right? Like that's one of the quotes, like,
Well, no, that's fun. Or sticking with that theme, like your parents really did get divorced because of you, and they're just too kind to tell you. I mean, they'll be long. Some can be long.
here's the thing. They're
Very
meant to be
specific.
funny. They're meant
I
to
was
be
just
this-
gonna go like
and I-
gonna have a bad day.
Yeah,
Y'all
No, this is gonna be
Listen,
cutty.
those certain restaurants would take those ones on. I love this is, but to your, I think what you're trying to communicate about those ideas is like, in my mind, like if I go to work every day and it's status quo and I'm not trying to innovate and imaginate what could happen here, it can become that pretty easy. And so my brain goes to that process. I mean, I could tell you movie ideas. I could go down that road.
One of your better ones though, misfortune.
Well, that one's possibly viable.
Someone's gonna probably
one-
do it.
I just love that the guy who's on the freeway watching kittens like be found out of the dumpster is also the one like you
Wants to do that.
is a misfortune.
He's all about balance. Yeah, he wants to.
Well, it's just, I mean, how does, a nation like Ireland deal with tragedy? It's humor. We make fun of everything. There's nothing is off the table. And it's probably a little something this world needs a little bit of. There's nothing better than, we actually saw one this morning. It was a comedian that has a rough life, like someone that might have a disability or somebody that might have
share it.
I mean, it's the whole story. Is a great comedian out there, and I love these stories like that. Has cerebral palsy, and he tells a joke, and he said, as he's on stage with cerebral palsy, he talks about how the invention of Botox was actually about helping to people with cerebral palsy because it can mute the muscle and calm it down and he's like, and then somebody figured out it could take wrinkles away. And he goes, there goes the work for cerebral palsy. And it was just amazing, like his humor in it. And so
we'll get back to the twisty arm thing.
I love when you can,
wrinkles.
I don't know. I feel like we're all a pretty serious bunch of people these days. And I love, there's something, man, we're all very sensitive and I get it, but I love the humor because I take it.
How do you inject fun into Snowbasin? 1,200 people. How do you make sure that they're enjoying their work? Because it's work, right? I mean, I think I have an amazing team that helps us do this. But a couple of years ago, I started mean tweets at work. So I'm on stage. I mean, I didn't start. I think Kimmel started. Yeah. It was, and so what that was us on stage. We had done a video where we recorded. We had a great team, and we recorded the leadership reading actual notes to us of hate and disregard. And it was like, Davy Ratchford is the worst general manager of all time. He needs to grow hair. The son of a bitch. It was just brutal stuff. One of them was we made one of our employees, one of our leaders was, your chairlift gave me herpes. Was a great one. So we got chairlifts can't do that, by the way. Yeah,
just so you know,
is that a real one?
As a representative of the ski industry, that is not the case. But we took these things and obviously, like, to the earlier point, there's a lot of passion in the ski industry. And you hear feedback, you hear amazing things from people, and it's like, it's so rewarding that way. And then you hear, like, you ruined my day. A woman will say, the chair lift had too much snow on it and my butt got wet and you guys ruined my day. And I'm like, well, it is snow. There is stuff. And so you get every level of unreasonability you can imagine. And then you get very valid feedback, right? Yeah. And so as you can imagine, we have a lot of feedback in a business like that. And so we curate the best ones and we read them at the end of the year as a way to end it. And a lot of them are about me. Like he is a complete idiot. And I read that and I think we all laugh, right? So how do I inject humor? Like I want to go to a place every day where like I feel comfortable. And then again, you have to be with 1,200 people or 1,100 people up there. We have to be flexible to every type of personality and belief system. And how do you make it an environment that's comfortable for everybody? Well, if I can be the guy that's bussing tables, a great one, you'll like this one. That drive I have is like, I got to show up in this moment. Like, this is how I got to do it. I was bussing tables one day with my kid. They were working on, I'm hustling. I'm like, can I take this tray for you? And, tidy up their stuff. So I'm doing it, sparring in the team. And I threw one away, and like 20 minutes later, a guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you're the guy that took my tray, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "My phone was on it." And he's like, "I need it. I need my phone." And then my brain was like, all right, I know where this is going to go. Like where this goes is me in the dumpster.
The trash can, yeah.
And so we had, by that point, busy day, there were many bags of many bags of food, and I have the worst gag reflex of all time.
He does. No, he does.
The worst, but I'm like, I can't. I have to jump in and find this thing. And so what was brilliant about the thing, obviously I'm saying it like, did I want to do that? No. I did not want to do it. And my brain battled the inspiring leader. It's worth the $400, whatever it is, like the inspiring leader to do the right thing versus I'm going to really hate this. Like this is not going to be good. I dive in and I find it brilliantly. But what was funny about it is the security camera on the outside had a photo of my legs twitching out of the thing. And that made its way around the company.
Oh, that's so good.
They had to flutter. You couldn't just keep them still.
It was a still photo, but it was like it was. Yeah, my core strength wasn't good at that time. But it was.
How inspiring,
Well, that's when you. Here's the thing: when you work on a mountain and it's freezing, and you work Christmas Day, and people can be tough, and the conditions are tough. Yeah, you got to find a way to like inject humor into it all, and you got to find a way to like get people motivated to do that because a paycheck only goes so far for those types of jobs, and so you try to do it. And I don't do it but what you learn real quick is the going and checking in. How are you doing? Do you need anything like that? That style, like the people just want to be seen and know that like this is a tough day, man. It's like 20 degrees outside. And I'm on my feet for 4 hours. Like I need somebody to check in on me. Anyone would want that. And it's the bare minimum, I think, of what you got to do. And so, yeah.
Davey, this conversation has been amazing. And we want to leave you with the question we leave all our guests. Do you feel like you became the CEO of the #1 ski resort in North America on accident?
Well, the COO, which is, we don't have a CEO, but yeah. Do I think I got here by accident? I think I stumbled through this thing, right? I think I found a way to a point of this thing where I'm like, I finally am like proud of it. Like I turned that corner, like that picture, that little snotty Irish kid, as I said, I'm proud of it. Cause like these were not the stars I was born under, right? And so I don't know if it's accident. Like it takes work. Like you don't get to just like be given things
Coast
like
there.
that. Yeah,
But you have gotten to a place where you got what I understand to be the biggest offer anyone in your industry could get, which was what?
We won't say it publicly. Yeah, I think
what it was, but you had the opportunity to not sell out, but to basically go global with your brand, and you found a home with Snowbasin in the community, and you've earned the right to be able to say, you know what? No, I've come far enough, and I enjoy this. I had
one moment of really big ego management. and I'm glad, like, it wouldn't have, but part of it in that thing where self-awareness is a gift, and like when you have it and when you exercise it, and in that case I knew that taking that job, I don't know if all the things that make me great would have been great there, and so I thought that I was like, I can do it, but like those next couple of years is going to be something where I have to become somebody different. And I was like, at this stage of this time with my family and life, like that won't be the best thing for especially the kids. And because at that point it was like it's the really transformative years. And at that point I was like, I need to be as stable as possible in that space. And so, but yeah, you take away of like a lot of you know, I don't know, a lot of pride in yourself that like those things could happen, and I don't know what the future holds, right? For me, like for me now, I don't think it's by accident that it happened. I think it takes a huge amount of rigor, sacrifice, care, loss. Like I lost in this thing, you know, and when I say loss, like it had its impacts. Like I'm sitting here all rosy and I'm great, and let me tell you, the capital of that country,
right?
Do all that thing, but I've made mistakes. I lost. You know, I got divorced, and although that's never just singularly one thing, I lost some things, and you can't get them back, and so you have to, I think, you know, find a new gear and a new way. And so for me now, I'm like, I my love of talking to people and trying to connect, and it is genuine. Like, what can I do with that? Like, do I teach more? Do I lecture more? Do I think it's time for me to do more of that. I think, you know, going through that loss, like, cause you just push for your career to be stable, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Feel that place. And then you realize there's a hurdle, and you're like, pho. And then you're like, okay, how do I come out of that? I think for me now, it's a little bit of like what I've always seen in Joe, is just this constant ability to learn. And with books and podcasts and people and connections, you're learning all the time. And I think I need to, I asked that, you know, on my list, which I can't believe Joe sent you that list, by the way, Ash. Those are some things that we can't bring up on this podcast. After dark version, you could.
After dark.
But one of the things on there is like, what's something you've lost that you wish you had back, right? And there's plenty of things I've lost. But I think what I lost along the way was that, you know, that ability to read a thing and learn a thing, and I think I had to go into like self-protection survival mode.
Yep.
And I was like, I can't even like make new friends.
Yep.
I can't even, like I became a hermit. Like I was like, I shut down, and I think I'm ready to emerge from that. And I think that's necessary for me.
Well, I think Ash can relate to a lot of that, and we'd love to keep talking, but thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your wit. Thank you for
this was fun. You guys are great.
Yeah.
You guys are great together. You do this really, really well.
We have a lot of fun.
We do.
Yeah, but thank you also for your unwavering commitment to just not giving up, and, you know, like finding purpose, meaning, because you do have so much to give, and I know that people are going to get a lot out of just listening to this conversation. Is there anywhere people can find you? I mean, your resort is Snowbasin. Real quick, why is it the best resort in the world, country?
It's the best. It is. It's such a special place.
Can a girl learn to ski there?
Ash, I would love for you to come up with me and come up on the mountain. It is
it's so fun.
I'll let you listen, do this. You don't even, like, come to Utah and ski. Go to the mountain. Go to all
anyone that hasn't been to Snowbasin, it's worth the extra drive.
It's 45 minutes north of Salt Lake. It's a beautiful place. We literally have the best bathrooms in skiing. It's an award.
Say hi to Davy, and
that's the thing. If you do hear this, if you ever hear this, and you're at Snowbasin, bald Irish guy, pretty easy to find, and tell me you did, and yeah, let's have a drink or go ski.
Okay. All right, Davey, we love you. Thanks for coming on.